Hello everyone, and thanks for watching part 4 of our end of 2022 special. So this video goes through the weather in Ireland between October and December 2022. Just say that we already have parts 1, 2 and 3 of our special done, so please do check those out if you'd like to. So part 1 went through the weather between January and March, part 2 between March and June, and part 2 between April and June, and part 3 between July and September. Now we're doing between October and December, so please check those out if you'd like to. And happy New Year's Eve, everyone. It's the 31st of December 2022. In about it's actually 12 hours and 27 minutes. It will be midnight on the 1st of January 2023, so very exciting times. Anyway, moving on to the central England temperature for the 3 months of October, November and December. We can see here that October CET was 12.8, a very mild 2.3 degrees above average. November at 9.2, a very, very mild 2.7 degrees above average. And December, as far as up to the 29th of the month, it hasn't finished updating yet. We're at 3.1 at 1.5 degrees below average. The first below average month and the only below average month of the year. You'll notice. Just shows you how warm this year has been. It's the warmest year on record, I think, for the UK and Ireland, and for many, many areas of the world as well, in Europe, America, places like those. So, an exceptional year it was for high temperatures. So, starting on the 1st of October 2022, a Saturday. So, October was a very warm and wet month, I remember. It was very stormy in the second half of the month with a lot of lightning. If you watched my Boxing Day special, you'll know what it was like. So going through into the first few days of October, we see high pressure to our south, bringing dry weather there with warm winds from the southwest. You can see 10 Celsius ice storm coming through the country. Going on into the 4th of October, we see low pressure coming closer towards us. And by Wednesday, October 5th, look at this chart. Can you get any more zonal than this? Look at that. A perfectly flat westerly wind coming in across the Atlantic. Low pressure over Iceland and Greenland. High pressure over the Azores and Europe. Look at that. A flat westerly wind. You can't get more. I don't think you can ever get more zonal than that. A flat westerly wind just right across the Atlantic. Get that. Quite cool as well. That day we saw showers, and I recorded a time lapse on this day of a shower coming through, followed by a rainbow. So that was nice. And going through, we stay westerly, very, very zonal, very, very showery, wet. Before we see high pressure trying to come up again, before low pressure comes back, more high pressure trying to come in. The Azores high on the 11th of October, bringing cooler weather. Before we just stay very, very westerly this month until around this time of the month, around the 15th, 16th of the month, you see a little change. Blocking around Greenland, low pressure through Scandinavia and Ireland, and around that low pressure we pull up some warmer air from the southwest and south. So look here, high pressure over Eastern Europe and into Asia, low pressure around the Azores with blocking around Iceland and Greenland. We're pulling up this very warm southerly wind, so it's like a return of the pattern from the summer. And then as you go into these days here, 18th of October, look at that. Very warm southerly winds coming up. 10 Celsius ice storm coming up into the southeast. Then we go into the 19th of October. This day is when we saw very, 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 very big thunderstorms across Ireland, especially in the southern half of the country. So in the morning, it was very showery, some very, very big downpours. It's some quite big downpours that there were some whiteouts because of the rain. And then in about for me it was about 12 o'clock. I checked the radar and I checked the live lightning map. Sorry, and we saw some storms coming in of the Irish Sea, and then about 12:20 it struck. Heavy rain, lightning, thunder, everything. And then there was another one about 2 o'clock, and then there was another one in the evening. So very, very thundery day, exceptionally thundery. If you watch my Boxing Day special, you will see how many strikes there were across the country on that day. Truly exceptional. And then going on the 20th, we stay that way. Warm winds from the southwest, going a bit cooler there around the end of that week. And then we have low pressure over us then into the early 20s of the month, and then we go warmer and wetter again for the end of the month. Look at that. They stay that way. Very warm and wet month. Then that brings us into Halloween. That was a very wet day across the country. And then into November. So we're starting November. Quite cool and showery, quite unsettled. November was a very unsettled month and quite mild as well. Very, very mild. So you can see right now we're going into the 3rd of November. Bit cooler there. 0 Celsius ice through the country. Going further into the month, then we see. There we go. It's perfect. More low pressure in off the Atlantic. Onslaught of low pressure just stays that way. Very little change, as you can see. It's going through. Very big southwesterly there on the 10th of November. Look at those upper red temperatures. Probably, yeah. You can see that very nicely. Upper red temperatures reach 10 Celsius. You see a bit of 15 Celsius ice there to our southwest. Very, very, very warm. Look at all that hot, warm air coming through. Very, very warm, mild, and wet as well. Actually, not too wet because we have high pressure quite close by, and the low pressure is being held back in the Atlantic. Then going through, you keep going, more low pressure trying to come in, and it breaks through, bringing cooler and wetter weather. A lot of rain. More low pressure coming in, very, very westerly, very, very zonal. Low pressure right over us on the 21st of November. Going through into my 2nd, 23rd. Now, on the 24th, we saw around 6 a.m. I just put it there. There's a little area, this little kink in the isobars. That was a very, very active squall line that came through and gave me and quite a few people in the south and east of the country very heavy rain, hail, strong winds, and very loud and frequent thunder and bright lightning that morning of Thursday, November 24th. It just started really, really loud, and I checked out the window, and it was just chucking it down out there with the squally rain. It was like a small hurricane. And again, I talked about this in my Boxing Day special. So do see that if you'd like. So going on then, we go milder again towards the end of the month, and then cooler on the 28th of the month. Then we go into the end of the month. November 30th, and we see the starts of the first half of December's cold spell developing. You see here, you got the Siberian high, extending all the way back into Siberia, of course, extending to Siberia. Siberian high extending into Scandinavia, should I say. So you got a massive area of high pressure around here. And winds, of course, around the high pressure go clockwise. So wind comes around this way, and comes into Ireland and the UK this way. Now, at this stage, we aren't that cold. We got a bit of cold air over Scandinavia. But because we're so early on in the season, it's very hard to get cold. So we do get an easterly wind in the first few days of January, or should I say December. But it's not that cold. We bring in the minus 12 Celsius ice storm, but because the ground was so warm, that didn't really reflect the conditions on the surface. So it was about 6 degrees per day. Not that cold. Definitely not nearly cold enough for snow. So as you go into the 5th and 6th of December, then we start to see the bitterly cold weather start to try get in. On the 7th of December, we see the upper air temperatures going really cold, minus 12 Celsius Iceland through the country, but we're starting to get from a really much colder source. You can see they're coming all the way from Svalbard and beyond that, I'd say. Minus 10 Celsius Iceland trying to come in. Now we started to get wintry showers around this time around the coasts, and then it went really unsettled. But not really wet though. Low pressure over us, but because it wasn't a frontal low, there were no bands of precipitation around it. It was just a cold area of low pressure. You see, there's not really any temperature difference around it, so it was just convection based, which meant that we had to rely on warm air rising, and hitting the cold air above us to create showers. But of course, since the air over land is bitterly cold and the air above it is bitterly cold, you can't get that really. You can't get convection. But over the sea, where the cold air flows over the warm seas, the warm sea air rises to form the clouds. So you have to be you had to be on a windward coast. So if you were in the north, say on the 9th of December, you would have gotten the snow showers because you get the wind in from the north and the northeast, along sea track as well. So plenty of time for showers to develop, and then we stay like this until mid-month. We renew the easterly and northerly on the 14th of December. Very much locked in. Look at all that blocking around Greenland, Iceland. When you get these yellow colours up here, you know you've got decent blocking, and you get all the cold air flooding out of the Arctic. Look at all that cold pool waiting up there, trying to come in. But of course, it won't. These colours up here will never come to Ireland, just because the areas around Ireland aren't cold enough to sustain those temperatures. So going forward then, into the 15th and the 16th of December, this little area of low pressure, watch that, it just changes things slightly. And this allows some less cold air in off the Atlantic, but still with quite wintry precipitation. But look at this. The reason this changes things is it opens the door for this area of low pressure to start to make a comeback, to try and introduce the westers again. Look at this. So we got cold air to the north, and the minus 5 Celsius ice storm has sort of retreated a bit. Look at all this wodge of warm air waiting. So that comes in on Sunday the 18th of December, and on Monday the 19th. We get really warm, very mild. In fact, for the UK, it was the greatest change in temperature recorded in a single day. It was really, really warm. Really balmy compared to the previous day, just on the Sunday. 5 Celsius ice storm replacing the minus 5 Celsius ice storm. Really exceptional. And then we come to Christmas period. We stay mild, wet and windy, but not as mild. Up to Christmas, lots of rain. Christmas Day was quite wet. And then we reach the end of the archive, like this. Wednesday, the 28th, westerly rain, winds. Typical Irish winter weather. So that was our special for the end of the year. Hope you enjoyed it, and bye for now, and Happy New Year.